Good morning, fellow immortals. This chapter 8 that we're studying of Bhagavad Gita, you remember now, well, you will after I tell you. It's called Imperishable Absolute, the imperishable absolute. So I thought maybe we just get that beautiful idea into our hearts and then get our heads way far away from that idea so it doesn't go, oh God. That's all I need to hear today. I'm just so overwhelmed with life. I can hardly take it. And that's exactly why we are here, sitting once again in the seat of our soul, pondering these imponderable things and getting ready to have our wisdom food and take our wisdom medicine and to receive as much as we can into this container through our openness, willingness, through our single-hearted devotion, and our just stick-to-itiveness. So that's just a little gist. I have a few songs to sing then before we get started. We're going to be on verse 11 to start with, but they're short in the beginning. And this section of this chapter of the Imperishable Absolute, called The Method of Attaining the Supreme. We were just on for weeks the section on how to deal with getting prepared for the afterlife, yogi preparing for the afterlife. So this little chant from Yogananda, let's close our eyes and let's see if we can really shut down the computer, shut down the system, so to speak, and then sit in that seat of our soul, sit in the state of God being the divine indweller as you, and you're just deciding that you're going to align with that right now. So you're really peaceful, you're really aware, you're not expecting anything, and yet your heart is spilling over with almost this perfectly calm excitement that at any moment God can reveal a good portion of himself. At any moment he can reveal his complete self. But we need to be prepared. All right. So let's sing this song from Yogananda, his song, O King of the Infinite. O thou King of the Infinite, O thou King of the Infinite, I behold thee in samadhi, I behold thee in samadhi, in joy and in more joy, in the light of mellow joy. In joy and in more joy, in thy light of mellow joy. O thou King of the infinite, O thou King of the infinite, we behold thee in samadhi, we behold thee in samadhi, in joy and in more joy, in thy light of mellow joy, in joy and in more joy, in the light of mellow joy. So I'm putting down the prophecy right now. The oracle speaks right now that we are going to be an ongoing joy as we sit here drinking the nectar of the wisdom light of wisdom, the wisdom of the light, the wisdom of all is spirit. Now, before, after, always has been. That's the way it is. All right. And I'll sing you one more song, because God is joy, ever new joy. And that imperishable absolute is absolutely accessible right now. All right, one more little ditty. You've heard this before, but it really makes a lot of sense, and it will as we go along in these verses coming up. We have absolute access to the absolute access. We have absolute access to the absolute access. So dial 111, ask for the one, and tell the one you're my only one. So dial 111, ask for the one, and tell the one you're my only one. We have absolute access to the absolute access. Just put your left hand on your heart if you wanna. Your right hand over that left and just feel the one, just the one. Oh God, let's keep it simple. God is simple, everything else is complex. And just feel that one as your heartbeat, feel that one as your breath, feel that one as this moment, regardless of where you're at, the mind is at, what's on your plate today, what's happening in the world today. And let's just settle into that. Enjoy ever new joy in the light of mellow joy. Enjoy and in more joy in the light of mellow joy. And just like you can imagine those old phones, we had them in my home growing up, the dial phones, and just dial 111, ask for the one, and tell the one right now. You're going to see that a humble bhakti who is single-hearted in her and his devotion go all the way to the imperishable absolute. That's the secret hidden in the Gita. That's the secret that if we're not careful, that mind of ours is going to, and the trickster, the duality dream delusion is going to get in there and make you kind of go, yeah, that's cool, but it's not meant for me now. I'm not ready for that, okay? It's going to do everything to just pull you off of that notion. When how can it not be that the divine absolute and you are one right now? How can the wave not be a part of the ocean right now? All right? So just feel that's all that's going on in your heart right now. That's all that we ever want going on in our hearts right now. There's nothing that the heart was made for except for this. It was not made for being punished by our own emotions and our own worries and fears. It was not made to be fickle and confused and always wondering about this and that and never centered and always restless, so to speak. It was made for one thing, divine ecstasy with the one beloved, forever and forever, starting right now. It's just a heartbeat away and a breath away. All right? And as you sit back in the seat of your soul, just observe yourself. Observe. You can almost feel that heartbeat, right? You can almost sense how you are today. But it doesn't matter. Don't try to make sense about how you are today. Well, you can get a sense of it. And it doesn't matter how you are today because you are already perfect, calm, one with everything beautiful and wonderful. And God can't wait to give you a real taste, a real glimpse, a real experience of that. And all you've got to be is ready to receive. Open-hearted and full of bubbly joy and undeviating devotion. Ask him for that. Ask him for that. It's who you are. He's more than happy to show you who you are. More than happy. The only name of the game here, folks. The only name of the game. So be happy, even if you're not feeling like it's going to be a happy day. Maybe you got up on the wrong side of the bed. But be happy anyway, right? And maybe it's been not a week that you can have anything positive to even think about because your mind has gone, so easy for that mind to just go numb on us, and then it gets taken over by that negative energy of the dark force. But so what? Even that, disregard it and feel the blessings of this present moment, could you? It's so important that we're able to regroup And know that just if we just can just sit it out, this too shall pass, take a nap, do something that is just, if gets your mind off it, do something that you might always get enjoyment from, but know that it will pass, my dears, because in the nature of this ascension that we're in, I call it the duality dream delusion, chronic boomerang effect. The duality dream delusion, chronic boomerang effect. And that is every time you get a little like, oh man, that's it. I feel so good. I just want, and then just like that, the next moment or a few hours later or the next day, it's just like, what happened there? I can't even remember what that was. I certainly can't feel it, right? And you go, but it kind of like the higher you go in your ascension, the further we drop. And there's a reason for that. There's a reason for that because God wants to show you that ups and downs are part of life, my dear, ups and downs. And he says, let's just hold each other and ride the ride. Ride the ride. Ride the high. Let's keep riding the high with the divine, right? And that means even when we're low, we'll know that he's going to pick us up again because that's all he's done. That's all the soul does is pick us up, but it always will. It doesn't matter. It doesn't bother the soul. It doesn't bother God. What he loves is you're determined to get right back up, right? That's what he loves so much about you, my dear. He loves that you are, that you, that is you, and he loves every part of you that is you. All sides of you. He's not judging this good side, dark side, this side, restless, calm, yogi, non-yogi, whatever. Completely not in God's. It's just unconditional love, my dears. The divine love is unconditional. All right. So let's just feel that that's where we're at this morning. Okay. Give yourself the benefit of the doubt and feel that's where you're at. And if one or more of you can feel that, it's going to be spread across this whole little group today. And those who are going to see the stream later, those who are farthest thing from wanting to see the stream later, and the world at large, it will just emanate these beautiful, helpful vibrations because everybody needs God more than anything else that they think they can need times a trillion. Our greatest need is this present moment. And we're kind of milking this present moment before we get started this morning so that we can drink of the nectar, right? We can drink of ever new, ever more joy. Oh, thou King of the infinite, I behold thee in samadhi, in joy, and in more joy. It's like the story I told the other day, but I don't think it made it onto the tape because I didn't have the recorder on, about that devotee who always put flowers down on the altar and give that devotion to God and giving it to God and giving it to God. And God just must have just felt so much of that person's devotion, like he does to all of you, just knows what your soul is made of. And he said, oh, it's your time, my friend. And all of a sudden, he realized that morning he started to put the flowers there and on the front of the pictures of the masters. And all of a sudden, he went into a state of ecstasy and he realized God is here. God is here. So he took those flowers and he just dropped the petals down on his head. He said, God is here. God is within me. God, you are in me. I am in you. We are one. And my heart is where I will constantly live. I will cloister myself in my heart. That's coming up in a couple verses down the road. And cloister your mind in your heart. Okay. That's where we're at this morning. All right. Sound good? Are we in? Knuckles? Thanks. You bet we're in. Even if you don't think you're in, you're in. That's the craziest thing. This is why you cannot give your mind an inch anymore, right? You just cannot let yourself go down that, get on that train. That's the runaway thought train. You just cannot do that anymore. All right. It's okay if you do. I'm not saying that bad girl, bad boy. I'm just saying that we have other approaches. we have a zillion approaches in our spiritual toolkit, right? Always coming back to this, always coming back to the heart, always coming back to your trust and faith in the beloved. Go back and read Jesus Calling. read Yogananda's works. We're going to hear about the link. I call this stream the link to liberation. The link. We've just linked up our hearts with each other and with the one divine beloved. That is the link that we all need, and the link with the masters and all the ones who are assigned to us by God. You don't think God made this creation without knowing that it's impossible without him to be happy here in this creation? And in fact, you can, not careful, be totally miserable. You don't think for a second now, don't even go there, that he didn't give you every ways and means and all the tools inside you. Everything you are is pure gold, spirit, soul, power, and light and love and everything. But also he gives you the master or the masters and your guardian angel, and always infinite help around you. Always. You don't think that God hasn't given you more help than he has the delusion? Huh? I know, but delusion's going to make you think the other way, is what I'm saying this morning. So don't think. Stop thinking like a mortal, and let's start really living and loving as immortals, okay? Like the imperishable absolute, right here, right now. We're together. There's no separation. I can hang out with the imperishable absolute all day if I choose, because the imperishable absolute is the source of everything. And there's nothing more he wants than to hang out just with you today. Can you believe that? How's that for a reframe of the situation? How's that for looking at the bright side of things? Well, that's the kind of day we're in. That's the kind of life we're in, okay? That's the blessing that is always with us, just as we are right now. We're linked up to each other, and most importantly, we're linked up to the gurus. We're going to get a good review on that. And this is just the best time of our lives. What can I say? Even if it ain't, especially if it ain't, especially if your mind's going to fight you to your grave, right? And it will. Have you noticed? If you read the lives of the saints, or even Swedenborg was just in battle with demons for like 10 days and nights before he had his first visitation of Christ. St. Augustine fought the devil in that cave of his for who knows how long. He says, Lord, I've had enough. I'm beat to the pulp here, man. I don't know if I could take another beat. And then God comes. You get the gist of this. The higher you want to go, the more the devil's going to be wide awake. Let's get busy with this kid, with this girl, with this guy, with this soul. Let's go. So like that. Let me give you just the quick story of the devil, the senior devil, in his workshop, and that devil come in for training, and he gets to pick out one of the tools of the devil, and he's going through the shop, and he saw this. It was like an anvil. It was just really, really well worn. You could tell that it's been touched, and it's used for ages and ages. He thought, man, this is, I feel something in this one. So he said to senior devil, I want that. Senior devil, oh no, oh no, no, oh no, no, that's mine, that's mine. And junior devil, well, you said I could have it. I could have a tool here. He says, yeah, but that's mine exclusively. And this junior devil said, well, what is it? What does it represent? And he said, discouragement. And it works every time. If I can get people discouraged, I get them every time. All right. So now that we know that, if we didn't really have reviewed that situation in a while, notice that when you get discouraged, know that ain't you, my dear. That's just part of this fight that we're in here with the duality dream delusion, okay? But you just you're hooked up. It's not what you know, it's who you know. And who you know, and your blessing to be here with Yogananda's commentary of the Bhagavad Gita. Do you know this wasn't done in maybe 10 years ago, finished? How did you get into this body in this time, this age, when Yogananda's Gita commentary came out? You might think, well, this has been around for a while. No, it hasn't. The world wasn't ready, and it still ain't. But you know what? It was ready for you. You're ready. Are you ready? Yes, I'm ready. Yes, I'm ready to love, right? Are you ready? Yes, we're ready. Yes, we're ready to love. Okay. So, verse 11, page 728, the chapter 8, imperishable absolute, but this little section, the method of attaining the supreme. Now, we're going to hook in something today for the rest of this chapter anyway, where we're going to take this lesson 18 from Yogananda's new lessons, and it's called the self-realization way of life. Just perfect timing, right? And we're going to go through some pages today and some pages next time until we finish this lesson, because of all the lessons we've received in the new lesson, this one's the biggest one. 21 pages, because this is the keys to the kingdom. This is all about what we're talking, the method of attaining the supreme. Yogananda gives the how-tos, the keys to the how-tos, and as that conduit of the wisdom of the ages, so to speak, the one who God, the supreme, has picked out for us to just hang on to, you know, and through his grace, through his teachings, through his constant help and all that good stuff, we get to be carried up. All right. So we're going to look at that in side by side with what's coming up. All right. So let's get started. Here's verse 11. There's not even any commentary, just one sentence. Verse 11, the method of attaining the supreme, chapter 8, volume 2. God talks to Arjuna and to you and me and to everyone. That which the Vedic seers declare as the immutable, that which is gained by renunciance of vanished attachments, desiring which they lead a life of self-discipline. They desire God, so they're willing to let go of everything. Their desire, whatever it was, that is just like, oh, red hot desire for something in this world, right? They give it up. They're vanished because they desire something greater. That's the key here. That's why we want to be steady in our devotion every day, because that builds an impenetrable shield against the dark side, that side of us trying to pull us down, and gives us this another boost in our devotion to the one. So let me start over. That which the Vedic seers declare as the immutable, that which is gained by renunciance of vanished attachments, desiring which they lead a life of self-discipline. And they're not desiring the attachments, they're desiring the vanishing of attachment. The method for attaining that I will relate to thee in brief, says Lord Krishna, says the Supreme, the King, Queen of the Infinite. And then Yogananda's one sentence commentary to that verse 11. The divine goal is attainable. Maybe that sounds like something right above your mirror. The divine goal, my heart's desire, my one beloved, my first love, is attainable. The highest state that God has designed us to be in, I can be in, is attainable, right? The divine goal is attainable. Krishna assures Arjuna. And I want this morning to give you an assurance. You already have the insurance. The divine as you, nothing can ever hurt you. You can't die. You're an immortal. You're one with the infinite right now. You're a blissed out, yogi baby, yogi girl and yogi guy, right? So I want you to feel really assured, because you're insured by God's promises that we get from the scriptures, right? Krishna assures Arjuna through certain definite methods that God is attainable, described in the following stanzas. But the secret sauce is coming in about a few stanzas down the road. And it shows up in different places throughout the Gita. But I swear, when it comes to what our minds, and each of us have a different reaction, when it comes to something that pushes our buttons, and we kind of roll up our feathers, or our mind just shuts down because for some reason for too long we thought this isn't going to happen to me. I bought into, you don't even say it that way, but I've bought into that kind of low dark side of ourselves that just that's lazy bones kind of thing. And I can't do this, the can'ts. But Yogananda said when the can't disappears, the I can appears. All right, so now we're in verses 12, 13. Very short commentary as well, relatively. All right. Verse 12 and 13 is, he or she who closes the 9 gates of the body. Take a stab of what we talked about the 9 gates of the body. Let's just look at them right now well, let me read the thing and then we'll go back and look at these different sections. He or she who closes the 9 gates of the body, who cloisters the mind and the heart, who fixes the full life force in the cerebrum, and who thus engages in the steady practice, non-negotiable practice of yoga, establishing himself and herself in Om, 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 the holy word of Brahma, and remembering me, spirit, at the time of his and her final exit from the body, reaches the highest goal. Hey, this is what I'm saying. Depending on our upbringing, how we've been programming ourselves, right? Because this is nobody's fault. It's not even delusion's fault. It's you've been given free will. You've been given all the powers of the infinite to make the right choices. Yes, we're going to look at the cosmic cycles and the low ages and all that, which makes it pretty much impossible. And remember, the delusion here is here for one good reason, that when you fall flat on your face over and over again, and your heart is broken into a billion, zillion bits, right? And you don't think it's ever going to mend again. And that kind of depression and discouragement, that is when God says, okay, can I give you a hand here, my dear? Are you ready to lean on me? Can we link up finally? Can we? You can't do this without me. I know. It's just been harder on me than it has been for you. But now we can do something about it. Okay? And all you got to do is shake. Yes, Lord. I'm ready. So the 9 gates of the body are, kind of makes sense. You got 2 eyes. You can count, as I say, 2 eyes, 2 ears, 2 nostrils. What is that? 6? 2 organs of excretion and procreation. That's 8. And where we get into a lot of trouble, the mouth. 9. 9 openings, 9 gates of the body. All right. So there they are. All the things that can pull us outward. Your eyes, certainly. Hearing, oh yeah. Smell, definitely. We gotta, we don't let go of the toxins, we're going to be in big time trouble. So we've got to let go. Obviously, ideally, we let go of some limitations as well, right? And some worries and fears. But usually it's just on the physical side, we let go. We've got to do that. Procreation, well, nobody has generally a problem with that. Let's bring babies into the world. Let's make love, right? So there's not going to be a problem there for a lot of people to stay engaged. And then the mouth, of course, I got something to say about this. All right. So and then that's the 9 gates. And then the cloisters, the mind and the heart center. It's our whole, how many times have we mentioned that? Cloister your mind in the heart center. Cloister your mind in the heart center. Have something better going on with your love life, maybe. The divine love life. Beyond divine life and love support. Every breath I breathe in your pure love, your everlasting love. With every breath I breathe in your pure love, everlasting love. Hey, and then another place Yogananda said, breathe in me the way to love you, that I may learn to faultlessly love you. Pour me the wisdom wine by which I become intoxicated with you, intoxicated with you. You know, breathe in me the way to love you. See how we need his help? Divine life support breathing, divine love support breathing. If we want love, well, we want to breathe in love every breath, right? And then pour me the wisdom wine. Follow the wisdom of the ages, man, the sages and the ages, right? By which I become intoxicated with you. So last week I left you, we had introduced Emanuel Swedenborg to our stream, right? And I sent you a little thing. I hope you enjoyed that. But here's a quote from him about the breath. I found it. Wait, he doesn't profess to be a yogi or anything like that, but anyone who gets close to God through their own devotion and their own way of getting close to God discover the same truth. So this is what he said about breath. The deepest communication of our spirit is with our breathing. The deepest communication of our spirit is with our breathing and our heartbeat. Thought connects with our breathing. So this is how we cloister the mind and the heart, because we get in the heart, pranayama. This is the chakra of pranayama, right? And we do that awareness breathing, the God ecstasy breathing, the as you love me, I love you more breathing. You know, this is the one first love breathing. This is where the divine indweller in you have constant divine lovemaking going on, right? So we want to get our mind in there, really totally bought into the love thing, completely given over to the love experience so that it stops doing its thing because it's more in love with the love thing. All right. So thought connects with our breathing, and affection, an attribute of love, connects with the heart. We don't know that. That's what another thing he does. Swedenborg puts the whole anatomy and just because everything of heaven, everything in the higher is here. It mirrors here. Yes, we get fooled. We're in big delusion. It's disguised and all that, right? Doesn't seem like anything godlike sometimes. And when we're in these different states, because what we recognize is a state within us. Okay. But anyway, I thought that was a cool quote. Did you like it? The deepest communication of our spirit is with our breathing and our heartbeat. Thought connects with our breathing, and affection, an attribute of love, with our heart. And so Yogananda's poem that I put into these simple words and added a few more of my own goes like this. Let every beat of my heart be a brand new word. Let every beat of my heart be a brand new word. In my endless love, lyric to you, my Lord. In my endless love, lyric to you, my Lord. And then I added. So isn't that a beautiful, beautiful idea? It's like that other poem, the breathe in me the way to love you, that I might learn to faultlessly love you, and pour in me the wisdom wine by which I become newly intoxicated with you. And the same one with this. Let every beat of my heart be a brand new word in my endless love lyric to you, my Lord. And then I said, I keep writing so many love songs, sending them to you, my Lord. I keep writing so many love songs, sending them to you, straight from my heart, straight from my heart, straight from my heart, straight from my heart, right? Every beat, a new word in my endless love lyric to thee. Okay. So we establish ourselves In the steady practice of yoga, establish in Om, the holy word of Brahma, Om, 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 that magic carpet that takes you from the medulla right into the spiritual eye. It penetrates the spiritual eye. The Holy Spirit helps you to, big time, right? And then into the light you go. And remembering me at the time of the final exit from the body reaches the highest goal. All right? Is it all understandable so far? That understanding is up to you, my dear. Right? Because you always say to God inside you, because you kind of always want to, if you got your mind going, talk to God with that mind. He doesn't care where your mind is at, so to speak. We can kind of make judgments around. He doesn't. He just wants the communication, because if you can communicate with him, then he's going to get in there and help you think the God thoughts more than the human thoughts about anything and everything, right? So we want to talk to him about whatever's going on in our minds right now. We want to get in the heart to do that, because that's where we dial the 111. He's living in here, by the way, or she. So Yogananda's commentary, again, pretty brief on this one. A Jyoti Mudra technique that is taught to Kriya yogis. Those of you who have Kriya yoga with Yogananda, Jyoti Mudra is taught at the end of each meditation, has for its purpose the making manifest the light, the Jyoti. Jyoti means light, of the spiritual eye by closing of the 9 gates of the body, which Lord Krishna here advocates as a means for man's liberation. So Yogananda teaches some basic techniques, We're going to be talking about that soon when we start to look at that lesson number 18, where it talks about self-realization as the way of life. Because what we're getting from Krishna is God, this cosmic truth, right? But Yogananda is giving us the how-tos, because we're linking with him. Not only that, but all the help in the universe. If 100% help, 100% help, right? All we need to do is be humble bhaktis. And that is what's coming up in a verse coming up here. But maybe I'll give you a sneak preview, because I just can't wait. It's still in this section, the methods of attuning to the, attaining the absolute. There's 2 verses here. It's 21 of this chapter 8, coming up, page 739. But let me give you a little, just so you know, so we can just get the juice right here and now today, and then carry that with us. The aforesaid unmanifested, the immutable absolute, is thus called the supreme goal. That's verse 21. Those who attain it, my highest state, undergo no more rebirth. My highest state, no more rebirth. And be aware of your mind. But I don't mind it here. I don't want to go into that side of things, but there's a point where we're all going to just be flat on our face and say, Lord, that's it. Help me. And then this is it. Verse 22, chapter 8. Secret. By single-hearted devotion, O son of Pritha Arjuna. O daughter of Pritha Arjuni. By single-hearted devotion, that supreme unmanifested is reached. By single-hearted devotion. Now, does he add other things? No. Doesn't talk about yoga, doesn't talk about meditation here. By single-hearted devotion, that supreme unmanifested is reached. Of course, those techniques and all the other things we do are we need them all, right? But the key is single-hearted devotion. We can reach that supreme unmanifested by that alone. He alone, the omnipresent, is the abode of all creatures. God alone, omnipresent, is the abode of all creatures. But here's the commentary, and there's a song goes with it, but I'll save the song till when we get here. There's a song here, and there's one before this that are my favorite songs that I made out of the verses itself, almost to the word. All right. And that is, the sole gift the human being may present to the infant giver is love. It's the only thing you really have of value to offer. To bestow that gift on God, or miserly to withhold it, is man and woman's only private power. All else already belongs to the maker of heaven and earth. Here's the line. Mirror, 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 everywhere. Post this, but mostly post it in your heart right now. Post this in your heart right now. If you have take nothing else from the Bhagavad Gita, please take this sentence. Please put this one in there. Don't ever lose sight of it. By pure, humble bhakti, that's love. By pure, humble bhakti, man and woman becomes fit to enter even the ultimate haven, the immutable and unmanifest. The little things with great love. Hello. Just this breath of love. Hello. I surrender, Divine Mother. It's all yours. Hello. Lord, I can't move another muscle without you helping me. Thank you. Hello. Okay, you got that? Read it once more. By pure, humble bhakti, man, woman becomes fit to enter even the ultimate haven, the immutable and unmanifested. That's why when I came across a part of Swedenborg's thing, I'll say it now, and I was reading about the highest heavens, celestial heavens, the highest place where we can go if we're still going to be, before we get to the absolute, before we arrive at the absolute. Of course, this, he talks about this as the absolute Lord dwells there, right? It's like the sun of divine love. It describes that ultimate reality, samadhi, bliss, whatever you want to call it, but it's all those words just melt into divine love, right? Everything. Bliss is love. Love is divine. Love is bliss. But he said that all the angels up there, they face east in that highest heaven, the celestial heaven. They face east, and east represents the sun of divine love pouring out, radiating out from the supreme transcendent Lord. And they never take their eyes off of them. Like Yogananda said, with my sleepless eyes of love, I ever gaze on thy face. With my sleepless eyes of love. They never, ever, and they just get filled up with that divine radiance, pours through them, and then their whole life is just God through them into how many souls can I help? How many souls can I share this with? How many souls are ready to receive it? How many souls will I just maybe will spend decades just hovering over, loving them unconditionally, or maybe lifetimes until they get it. But the angel never takes its eyes off of receiving that divine love from the sun beyond our sun, right? And then just letting it come through. So that we can call that breath of divine love, where we just breathe in that love and we just exhale, and we're just part of everything. We're in the God love now. It's not nothing to do with us. We don't even know who we were ever at that point. We're just love itself. All right. How do we get there? By pure, humble bhakti. And then, everything else that can help us get there to support that humble bhakti. And that humble bhakti supports everything else too. All right. All right. So I jumped a little ahead. I hope you don't mind, give you a little preview, but I couldn't wait. I'm sorry. I think you need to know that now. You need to instill that one. Because we need to create our own little checklist now, kids. When we get done with this section and that lesson, we're going to have a little checklist test, not test, but just to go back and just so you have your own perfect checklist where you just check this every day. Like if you're going to fly high into the friendly skies, you better check all the things, right? Because we're going to be given the clues, not only from Gita, but from Yogananda's teachings, the essence. That's all we need to know. But that's really all you need to know. But all the essence is going to be just as powerful to support that. You see how blessed we are? Okay. I could go on and on. I know about all of this, and I will. Thank you for your patience. All right. So the Jyoti Mudra technique, when you close off the 9 gates, you kind of close off eyelids here, put your thumbs into the tragus of the ears, and then the fingers, the fourth and fifth fingers on the mouth, close it, and then the third fingers on the nose, because you do a Kriya breath in, and then you close it all up and look up into the spiritual eye. See, I closed off all the gates. And if you want to do a little mulban, that too, you can even close the gates of the procreation and the excretion center. You just pull up mulban, right? So that's the 9-gate Jyoti Mudra that he teaches. And you don't hold your breath for very long, right? When you close off the nostrils and the mouth, you're just looking into the spiritual eye. So that's a Jyoti Mudra technique for the purpose of making manifest the light, the Jyoti of the spiritual eye, by closing the 9 gates of the body, which Lord Krishna here advocates as a means for man's illumination, right? In all of this, you don't have to be in a technique mode. You can just kind of remember what that technique and say, it's time for Jyoti Mudra, and just go within and visualize that each of the gates are closing, like you did with your hands over the face. Everything's closing, and then just to focus on the spiritual eye and penetrate the spiritual eye, because everything, you're cloistered, your mind, your whole energy is cloistered in your heart of love. There's just love, just your Valentine. Love letters back and forth. If your love letters are true, dear God, I will surrender to who you keep saying I am, and I am yours. What a Valentine we can have this month or next month, right? Go on with Yogananda's commentary, top of page 729. The advanced Kriya Yogi, by this technique, is able to control the life current that is ordinarily diffused throughout the body, and hold its usual copious flow outward through the 9 gates or openings of the body. So we can really let that life force out through those openings, right? Especially when our mindset isn't on the truth, on the wisdom. And then where your mind is, there goes the energy. But in our mind, we decide to be the light of wisdom. We're going to be, wisdom yogis. You're going to hear that from Yogananda's lesson. Then that mind guides us to have really sterling thoughts. And it helps to keep ourselves contained and centered in the holiest of holies, this heart space. So we would be able to withhold its usual copious flow outward through the 9 gates or openings of the body. The mind, manas, or sense consciousness, is withdrawn. Right, we change that gatekeeper when we get to the medulla, right? That this is the Om. This is either letting in that highest wisdom and having a gatekeeper of wisdom, the Buddhi mind, because the manas mind can rule here. That's the last of the big battles, right there. That's it. So we're right here. He's saying, let's withdraw from the 3 lower spinal centers associated with the physical senses. Let's take our now Buddhi mind and help to bring this energy uplifted to the heart center, which in parens, the second stopping place in the ascension to the highest spiritual centers of the brain, to the heart center. Because, we got to get away from those three lower chakras, because the negative side of those chakras, if we're not careful, are the 3 gateways to hell, says Lord Krishna. And the 3 gateways to hell are lust. It's in our first chakra. Lust, anger at our second, and greed in our third. Lust in our first, anger in our second, and greed in our third. So avoid those gateways to hell at all costs. So up we go into the heart, because you're going to bring up all that energy too. You got your mind now. Finally, we're ready to surrender and cloister itself in the heart. Now you have all the energy that you usually have really spent in those lower chakras, really spent Imagine saving that and bringing that up with gusto, meaning that you are more determined than ever to use that energy in a positive way, especially to come up to the second stopping place in your ascension, the heart, right? With the attention focused at the point between the eyebrows, the withheld life force, then, this self-controlled life force, that's what love is. It's really self-control. It's really the control of everything so you can be in true love, non-physical true love. Then to have happiness galore and everything else. So it's a discipline. Be a disciple of love, my dear, and you won't even know it's a discipline. But yeah, you'll be fighting the battle of battles, I'll tell you. But you won't even care because you know you are linked up with the right team. With the attention focused at the point between the eyebrows, the withheld life force becomes concentrated there. And in the cerebrum, so up she came, man, from the second stopping place in the heart, woo, all the way up through the brain, open the spiritual eye, and into the cerebrum, illumining the omniscient spiritual eye, the divine gateway to the infinite. We've been talking about that, haven't we? The yogi hears the cosmic sound of Om, 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 the holy word of Brahma, merging in the Om vibration. When we do a little review of Yogananda's techniques, when we get to that lesson, we'll see some key words he uses in this little explanation he puts in the lessons for his three techniques. You know, the Hong Sa of concentration, the O of listening, and feeling the immanent Christ consciousness in that. That's the key words. And then the Kriya Yoga. So we're going to get a little review coming up. The yogi hears the cosmic sound of Om, the holy word of Brahma. Merging in the Om vibration, the yogi enters the spiritual eye and releases his soul from the three bodies, as aforementioned. So merging with the Om, we enter the spiritual eye and release our soul from the three bodies. We kind of discussed that. Can't talk about it enough, no, until we really understand it. Experiencing the omnipresence of Om, we merge in Kutashti, our Christ consciousness, inherent in that Om, and then ascend through cosmic consciousness to the transcendental absolute beyond vibration, beyond vibratory manifestation. Transcendental absolute beyond vibratory manifestation. The yogi who steadfastly and successfully practices this method of realization attains consciously at the time of death complete liberation in spirit. Now don't worry, when you hear these big promises, these big wisdom bombs, you know, don't worry. Be a humble bhakti. Do the little, just be a little non-entity, you know, just do little things with great love. We'll talk more and more about that. Little things with great love, you know, and let go of all the seriousness and the judging of oneself, because you're already so perfect in God's eyes. When are we going to then have God glasses on all the time so we can see how perfect we are, so we can let go and just bathe in that beautiful light, right? And feel the hum of that Om vibration, just giving us chills of the Christ joy consciousness in all of creation. Wow. So the yogi who steadfastly and successfully practices this method of realization attains consciously at the time of death complete liberation in spirit. The link to liberation. Lesson 18. Still, if you're pondering, get whether it's worth getting these lessons of Yogananda, ponder no more, or keep pondering, but I highly recommend. For your soul's sake, my dear. So I'm going to open this page and I'm going to just start at this, just the inside page, first inside page, where it says, to get the most from your spiritual study of these lessons. I believe this little thing is for all of them that come, but I looked at another and this little ditty wasn't there, but I think this is like an all-inclusive lesson because it talks about the self-realization way of life, right? But you might have, if you have a pen, you can write this down, because this could be a starting affirmation every day, because this could be part of your checklist. First thing. for your, just to make sure you are on the best beeline to the divine you can be on, right? Now you're not just in your head some ideas, because we have lots of good ideas in our head, but now we have to pull them in for our formula for complete ascension, success, and happiness today, and love today, right? Okay, you get the gist. So he says here, but then we'll put it into an affirmation. So just listen first. Attune your will to be guided by the wisdom of God. Attune your will to be guided by the wisdom of God, as expressed in the wisdom of the sages. If your will is yoked to wisdom, you can achieve anything. Will is so important here, key. Even in Swedenborg, it's all about the will to do good, and the will to understand truth. So I attune, to make it an affirmation. I attune my will to be guided by the wisdom of God. I attune my will. What a start to a meditation. I attune my will to be guided by the wisdom of God, as expressed in the wisdom of the sages. As expressed in the wisdom of the sages. My will is yoked to wisdom. I can achieve anything. My will is yoked to wisdom. I can achieve anything. One more of this I am statement. I attune my will to be guided by the wisdom of God, as expressed in the wisdom of the sages. My will is yoked to wisdom. I can achieve anything. Okay? Checklist. Memorize that affirmation. Okay? He goes on to say, before you begin to read the lessons, select a quiet, restful place. We're coming onto the line, the Gita streamline. Select a quiet, restful place. Read every word carefully and inwardly digest the message. That's why I keep coming back now to the, you know what this period of our lives is right now? Back to the basics. Back to the garden, right? The Joni Mitchell song, she sang it at Woodstock, right? Back to the garden. I think someone else did that song too. But anyway, we got to go back to the basics now, the fundamentals, review of everything, just so till we get our checklist polished. Maybe the rest of our life we keep working on that checklist until we are really checking the checklist, checking the items. Yes, 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 yeah. Oops, still got work to do there. Oops, still got work to do there. But you know what I mean? Do not allow yourself to be distracted. Permit each thought to filter through your mind slowly. No rush anymore. What are we rushing through this stuff? In this way, you absorb, because God is with you more and more when you don't rush. You know, you can feel Him closer when you're not rushing, when your only goal is to feel Him closer. It's the only thing you want, it's the only thing you need. Permit each thought to filter through your mind slowly. In this way, you will absorb the knowledge in these lessons more thoroughly. Sit upright. Take a deep breath and exhale. Good. And exhale. With the exhale, breathe out all restless thoughts from your mind. Keep the body and mind motionless. And now absorb everything I say unto your soul. I want you not only to listen with attention, but to absorb deeply the spirit behind my words. And this quote from him, thy self-realization shall blossom forth from thy soulful study. And we'll close today. I wanted to read a little more from this lesson, but again, we're not rushing. All right. We'll get to it straight away next Tuesday before we go further on with the verses. All right. We'll get caught up. So we link them together. This is just a poem from Yogananda. Let me read it in closing and absorb it, right? Just absorb it with your soul. Ask God to just give you God cells now. Awaken God cells. Just ask him, can I, like if they're taking stem cells now from your spine for healing and other parts of your body and bang like that, you're feeling better. Ooh, remember, it mirrors everything that they're doing here in this world is coming from a place where it's possible, really possible. The source of that awareness to have that kind of, advancement and healing. So why don't you go to source and just ask God, I need you to kind of upgrade my cells right now, especially my brain cells, right? So let's listen from there and then we'll close, dear ones. Thank you. O Divine Father, this is manifest to me as light and wisdom and joy. Manifest to me as light and wisdom and joy. O Divine Father, through my dark ignorance, no, though my dark ignorance be as old as the world, though my dark ignorance be as old as the world, still make me realize that with the dawn of thy light, the darkness will vanish as though it had never been. You can take now, when you get all your materials together, you can decide what do you really need to absorb every day for you on your path, you being uniquely you. Maybe though my darkness be as old as the world, still make me, Lord, make me realize with the dawn of thy light, the darkness will vanish as though it had never been. Make me realize today, right now, that with thy light, the dawn of thy light, the darkness will vanish as though it never been. Check. Oh, Father, thou art sacred perennial joy. Thou art the joy I seek. See, when I think of Heavenly Father, I think of Father Joy. I call him Father Joy. And we're going to learn soon enough in the next page or two, he says, don't just come here with kind of like this down attitude that, oh my God, I got to let go of this thing. I'm really craving that. I'm used to so going out and getting those cravings fulfilled, even though they're not really going to make me happy. And I feel not so good about myself, on and on. But God is joy. We've got to do things with zeal now and joy. Zeal and joy. Zeal and joy is another check. Am I meditating with zeal and joy, going about my day with zeal and joy? Check. Oh, Father, thou art sacred perennial joy. Thou art the joy I seek. Thou art the lasting joy of my soul. Teach me to worship thee through the joy born of meditation and doing good, and not through pleasures born of the misguided senses. Manifest thyself to me, O Father, as the light of reason, as the blaze of wisdom, as the breeze of amity and harmony. Manifest thyself through the song of atoms and electrons and the vibration of their music. Teach me to hear thy voice, thy cosmic voice, which commanded all vibration to spring forth. That's the Om, which commanded each melody to sing its own song. Finally, teach me, O Divine Father, to become a true yogi and yogini. Teach me that by renouncing material consciousness to know thee, I shall not lose anything or need to be sad about anything that I'm missing out. Oh, I'm not adding that, right? I shall not lose anything, but will gain everything. Father, I need to know I will gain everything. If I give my all to you, I'll have everything. I'll gain everything. Instead of finding cessation of life's joys, in my union with thee, I shall become the fountainhead of eternal life and bliss. Reveal thyself, reveal thyself. I'll repeat and then we'll close. Teach me that by renouncing material conscious knowledge, I shall not lose anything, but will gain everything. Instead of finding cessation of life's joys in my union with thee. This could be the part of the checklist right here. Lord, in my union with thee, I am become. I'm not even going to use the word shall. He puts shall, but I am become the fountainhead of eternal life and bliss. Lord, in my union with thee, I am become the fountainhead of eternal life and bliss. In my union with thee, I am become the fountainhead of eternal life and bliss. Reveal thyself, reveal thyself, reveal thyself, reveal thyself. And so it is. Thank you, beloved. I release, I let go. I give you my all. You are my all. You are my everything. Namaste. Blessings, everybody. And then more and more blessings to all of you.